I watched a video that came out recently by Danganronpa Animation. You may know them from their Minecraft animation series. The one video I'm specifically talking about is The Smiling Snowman. The video, along with the rest of Danganronpa's videos, are high quality, with the characters showcased in fun, light-hearted scenarios at first, but then dive headfirst into serious topics in relation to mental health. As of lately, one particular scene caught my attention, and it may seem insignificant to you, but for me, this made me feel really sad. Steve walks by his window and sees the snowman studying and writing English. The snowman can't talk, so she studies and attempts to communicate with everyone else in Steve's family of friends. When Steve goes to greet her, however, she gets nervous and scrubs all her studying away into the snow, making it illegible for anyone else to read. She goes inside the house to put the books away after. Now, out of all of these scenes, it was this one that caught my eye. The shot of the snowman studying from a high angle. Believe it or not, this wasn't the only time I've seen this kind of shot, and you might be mildly surprised about where I've seen these moments. How to Train Your Dragon and Incredibles 2 are the two examples I can think of off the top of my head writing this script. In How to Train Your Dragon, the main character Hiccup reads the Book of Dragons by himself, starting from this high camera angle before cutting to a closer shot of Hiccup reading the book. But the one that I mainly want to refer to is Incredibles 2. In Incredibles 2, Mr. Incredible, yes, that same Mr. Incredible, is struggling a little on how to do math the way his son, Dash, is assigned to solve it. And a little is probably a bit of an understatement.
That's not the way you're supposed to do it, Dad. They want us to do it this
I don't know that way. Why would they change math? Math is math.
Okay,
Math
Dad.
is math.
A little later, when the family is falling apart because of Mr. Incredible trying to make things better his way, Mr. Incredible is trying to fall asleep, but is really bothered by the fact that he can't help do his son's math homework. So he takes the time that he has by himself in the middle of the night to study how to do his son's math. All this and the camera is outside of the residence, slowly moving away from the subject of the scene. Now let's look at a frame from each of these shots here. What do these shots all have in common with each other? Some answers may include what they're doing, like how each are learning from a book, the time they've chosen, like how it's late at night, or, in my personal comprehension of these scenes, the fact that they've chosen to study by themselves. I recently graduated from the University of California, Irvine. A big accomplishment, I know. With my knowledge in film and media, it wasn't until watching Danganronpa's video which showed this shot that brought me back to the days of being in university, which in turn brings me to the Incredibles 2 shot of Mr. Incredible studying math by himself. For some reason, this shot makes me feel somewhat dejected. The shot isn't even that sad, but the way I processed it was. The fact that the camera slowly moves back, away from where the only light source is, which is where Mr. Incredible happens to be, only emphasized that isolated aspect of the shot. While the context of each scene changes, with Hiccup wanting to learn about how dragons work, Mr. Incredible wanting to be a good dad and help his son with his homework, and the snowman wanting to communicate with others, I found myself reminded of the very lonely days I had studying in the late hours of the night, which is why this story is so personal. As such, it probably wouldn't be surprising if I said that I related a lot to these shots, especially these two. I made a post back in June of 2024 on Instagram when I was still in university. At that point, I just spent another all-nighter to myself, and here's what it said. The night passes. Here I am by myself. It's a cold embrace, physically all alone. But in a way, it's peaceful. Sometimes being all by myself might just be what I need at times. The embrace is a ripple between the realms of life and death. Mentally, I think I am at inner peace. The later hours are surprisingly relaxing. It allows me to forget about my responsibilities of the world. It strikes memories that are both warming and painful. While I wasn't studying at this time due to the school year just ending, I spent the night all by myself in a state of peace and quiet, because that's what the night grants you as a university student. However, it's shots like these that reminded me of one of my least favorite parts of studying. I often did it by myself. I did occasionally have things to work on with other people, but that was often done during the day. The things I studied during the night were not very collaborative, and as such, these shots created this really lonely atmosphere that I flash back to whenever seeing them. I understand that this is not universally shared by absolutely everyone, as everyone's university experience is different or is going to be different, but maybe a select handful of you might feel the same emotion back when I was still studying in the late hours of the night. It's lonely. And as it's currently 10:26 p.m. as I finish this video script, some things just don't seem to change. A big thank you to my YouTube members on screen, as well as to Kimberly Michelle 18 and Shaylin 96 for their major support of my videos.